Hello, good evening everyone. Welcome again to OFE Side Hustle. Kasama na naman tayo ngayong Sunday, no? So, ito na yung 8th episode natin. So, ang bilis. And on our 8th episode, we have a very special guest. But before we go to our episode, please like and follow our Facebook group. I'll share it on the screen. Ayan. OFE Investing and Business Community. So, pwede nyo siyang i-search sa Facebook. And then, makikita nyo doon yung mga previous episodes namin. So, meron na doon about gold, about freelancing, cryptocurrency, stocks, meron din about coffee. So, pwede nyo lang, pwede din kayo mag-share. Kung gusto nyo mag-share dito sa Side Hustle, pwede kayong mag-message doon and we'll reach out to you. So, our episode for today is about beginner's guide to podcasting. No, our very special guest is none other than Miss Roma Miclat. Hi, Roma.
Hi, Sheila. Good evening.
Hello, good evening. Kumusta?
Mabuti. And good evening, mga ka-OFE, and to all the viewers of OFE Side Hustle. I'm happy to be here and to have the chance to actually share something that I'm very passionate about. So, yun.
Thank you for accepting the invitation and thank you kay Mike for connecting us.
Yes, thank you, Mike. Tagal na namin di nag-uusap ni Mike.
Roma, give us a brief background. Matagal ka na bang nagpa-podcast?
Yes. Actually, more than 2 years na ako nagpa-podcast, and I currently have two shows. One is the Roma Miclat podcast, and the other one is That Broke Pinay podcast. I think mas familiar doon yung mga ka-OFE natin because
Mm-mm.
yun yung podcast ng babaeng gastadora. So, yeah, 2 years, more than 2 years now.
Ang tagal na, no? Pero parang napansin ko, during the pandemic, mas lalong naging famous yung podcast. Parang before, hindi naman ganun talaga yung
Oo, actually, nice observation. Kasi, Filipinos, we love content creation, I think. May pagmamahal tayo sa like vlogging, di ba? Pagka may something na nakakatch ng attention natin, we want to actually try to do it ourselves, di ba? So,
Mm-mm.
yun, vlogging became famous, and then nung pandemic, parang siguro bored yung mga tao, walang nagawa. Parang ang dami mong maririnig na ganun or mabasa sa mga community, like for podcasting community, sasabihin nila, well, this came out of boredom, ganyan-ganyan. So, a podcast came out, yan. Oh, which is true. Maraming nagkaroon ng time kasi 'di ba nag-work from home, and then hindi ka nagka-chance, parang mas na-limit yung uh, bonding you with friends. So you wanna entertain yourself in a way. So yung iba, they tried and do vlogging, may mga nag-TikTok, meron namang iba nag-podcast.
Oo, kasi ako
Yun.
personally, nahilig ako sa podcast during pandemic lang din talaga. Before, wala akong idea. Like, ano ba yan? Ano ba yung podcast?
Mm-mm.
So, pandemic.
It's very new sa Philippines, pero sa States very famous siya.
Oo, madami na. Kasi yung mga pinapakinggan ko sa States, ang dami na nilang episode.
Mm-mm.
Dito sa Pinas, konti pa lang yung mga episodes.
Yes, totoo.
Ay, may mga nag-hi sa'yo. Eto. Ayan. Ooh, si Jeric Devante.
Jeric Defante is also a podcaster from Dubai. Hi, Jeric. Thank you for
Hello.
watching.
Ito pa, meron. Oh, hello sa favorite namin podcaster.
Yes, hello OFE, yung mga titos natin sa OFE. Isa sila sa mga nag-guest ko din sa The Roma Miclat podcast. Hi guys, thank you for inviting me.
Ito from Janjan. Good evening, Shida, Roma, and mga coffee. Hello.
Yan, isang OG tito ng OFE.
Ayan. And then, I guess wala naman ng ano dito. Pwede na tayo mag-start on the presentation.
All right.
Excited na siguro yung mga future podcasters natin dyan.
Yes. Thank you, thank you. Ayan. O sige.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Add ko na. Ayan.
All right. So, Hi guys! So, welcome to our session. Yes, session talaga. Huwag kayong mag-alala, wala tong MLM, ganyan. Wala
Wala
kami ibibenta
naman.
after. So, welcome to Beginner's Guide to Podcasting. So, this is just a general discussion, nothing technical, okay? So, just to give you a brief background kung kaka-tune in nyo lang, I am the creator and producer and host of not one but two podcast shows, and they are the Roma Miclat podcast and that Broke Pinay podcast. And like I said earlier, I've been doing content creation since 2015, but podcasting is the one that I would say ito yung nagstick. And I'm excited to let other people know about this, especially my fellow Pinoys. Okay. And may agenda. Sabi nila, hala, baka may
May quiz after.
may quiz after. Hindi. Ayan, our agenda for today, ano yung makukuha niyo sa session na to? Well, you'll understand what is a podcast, ano ba yung kailangan nating skills for podcasting, and then the things that you have to know if you want to start your own podcast show. May earning possibilities ba dyan? Diba? Importante yan. I think that's one of the very questions na inaabangan nila. And of course, later on, may Q&A portion tayo. So, let's begin. Okay. A podcast is A podcast is another form of content gaya ng mga vlogs na napapanood natin sa YouTube or Facebook. But I would say may isang misconception din tayo when it comes to podcast at yan ay yung madalas nating marinig na podcast. Parang DJ ba yan sa radyo? Di ba? Ganon. Ganon yung mga naririnig natin. Well, I would say medyo oo na parang hindi. Well, a podcast is not a radio. A podcast is an audio on-demand content. Think of Netflix but in audio form. Ang radyo kasi, for example, are you guys familiar with Boys Night Out ng Magic 89.9?
Yung mga office mate ko dati, favorite yan.
'Di ba? Paborito ng pinakikinggan yan pag pauwi, 'di ba? Tas traffic. The show is available daily at 6:30, 'di ba? And then may ibig sabihin may specific time slot siya. And then when you miss it, wala na. Wala nang replay. Versus, compare it to podcast, all you have to do is download the episode and then you can listen to it at your own pace, at your own time. Na-mention mo kanina, Shida, while you're working out nga ba? Or
Or minsan running, ganyan.
running, o di ba? Ida-download mo lang and then bahala ka na. Chop-chopin mo siya in three parts, or habang nagluluto ka or gusto mong makatulog, di ba? You listen to it depende sa kung kailan ka available. And lastly, a podcast offers an intimate listening experience to its audience. Because radio is more of music, di ba? While podcast is pure discussion at saka puro usapan lang talaga. So, yon.
So, pag podcast, Roma, ano siya, parang pre-recorded na? Ganun ba siya?
Yes, oo. Kasi you download it. But sometimes, ngayon, syempre, of course, nagbabago na yung panahon eh. A lot of people, a lot of shows, sometimes they do it live. Ako, what I do differently sa podcast ko, I add video cast. So whenever I do interviews, meron kaming naka-record siya, tapos I put it on YouTube. But it's a podcast, but with a video. So we call it vidcast.
Oh, okay. Yun, hindi ko alam yun. So, parang naka-video siya, pero yung audio ng video na usapan na yun, it will be transferred to the podcast.
Yes, it's like hitting one bird with, two stones,
birds with
two birds with one
stone.
stone. Oo, yun. Mali
Okay.
pa ako. Ayun. So, okay. Go tayo sa next slide. Saglit lang ha. May technical glitch ako. Ayan. Now, let's talk about a little bit about kung ano ba yung mga popular podcast genres na meron tayo. Because according to Statista, if you can see on the screen, according to Statista's information, as of October 2020, there are top 5 podcast genres. They are new. Their number 1 is comedy. Second is news. Third is true crime. Tapos nagtayo si sports and health, fitness. Si sports, health and fitness, nagtayo at number 4. And number 5, si religion and politics. And it's unfortunate that, we don't have this kinds of information pa available in the Philippines because, again, like I said earlier, podcast game is very, very new in the Philippines.
Mhm.
Podcast has been there for the past 15 years or so, pero bago pa lang siya sa Pilipinas. In fact, like we discussed earlier, may surge ng local podcast show. It came
Mm.
last year nung start ng pandemic. Kaya we would say na very, very promising yung future ng podcasting sa Pilipinas.
Kasi na-notice ko yung mga artista sa'tin nagsa-start na din ng podcast nila, eh.
Yes, 'di ba? Yung mga media personalities,
Oo.
celebrities. I think before they came to podcasting, pumunta sila sa YouTube, 'di ba? Parang ang
Mm.
daming official channels ng mga artista, 'di ba? Mga ano, a day in the life of, yeah, but then now they go to podcasting because again it's for the Philippines it's a very it's new and it
Mm.
can be a possible source of income din naman.
Pero tingin mo ba we're a bit late na in terms of podcasting sa Pinas or pwede pa
I
humabol?
I think ano naman because of the technology available pwedeng humabol at saka
Hmm.
maraming magagandang shows din na ino-offer sa Philippines. So although medyo late tayo nang sabihin nating roughly 4 5 years,
Mhm.
kayang-kayang humabol.
Ayan, so mga gustong mag-start diyan, start na agad. Pwede pa daw.
Yes. Yes. Magandang mag-start na kayo kung talagang gusto nyo. Okay. So, next tayong slide. Ayan. Now, before you start your own show, you have to understand the reasons why people are listening to podcast shows, hindi ba? So again, based on the research published by Statista in the US, sorry guys, last na to talaga na I just want to give you the complete details. The reason why people are listening to podcasts is because number one, they want to learn something new or for education. And then the second is to be entertained. So there goes your storytelling type of podcast, yung mga true crime or yung horror. And then the third most popular reason is to stay updated with the latest topics or source of news. So yung iba, kaya nga yung iba may mga yung parang for example, tech what's new in tech technology ganyan or ano yung mga upcoming gadgets in the next coming months yung mga ganon yung mga may mga ganong genre and some people there are people na gustong makinig ng mga ganon and
Hmm.
even news. Mm-mm.
Oo nga, yung sa current events, parang lately ko lang din yan na-realize. Kasi kung wala kang time, halimbawa magbasa sa online, yung iba nakikinig ng news through podcast, tapos sa commute nila.
Yes. Tas 'di ba kasi pag podcast, pwede kang magbigay ng comment mo. So kung may side comment ka, hindi ka naman like for example, sabihin natin Mel Chanco ganun, 'di ba? They will just deliver news, but they won't say their peace of mind about it.
Mm.
Ano ba yung niya comment niya doon. Unlike pag podcast, you sort of have freedom na
Mm.
mag-side comment ganyan, 'di ba? Yun.
Oo nga 'no, ngayon ko lang din na-realize yun. Parang sila very safe sila 'pag nagbibigay ng current events. Sa
Yes.
podcast, walang filter, very minimal yung filter.
Yes, oo. Puwede kang magalit, puwede kang mabwisit, ganyan. "Ay naku, 'tong mga, pulitikong 'to," ganyan-ganyan. Etos, ganyan. Okay. So, let's move on to the next slide. Now, if you're sold to the idea na, okay, Roma, Shida, sige, I really want to have my own podcast. Let's get this started. These are the things that you have to prepare for kung gusto mong mag-start ng show mo. Okay, let's go here. Una. Sorry, technical glitch. Ayan. Okay, producing a podcast will require a set of skills. Diba? This is not to discourage anyone, pero we also have to set the expectations and keep it real. You
Mhm.
should have the basic communication skills, and those are speaking and listening skills. Kahit solo podcast ka pa, kahit group podcast ka pa, or interview format pa yan, your communication skills. Bakit? Kasi for example, mag-i-intro ka, tapos too much palabok, ang dami mo nang nasabi, nakatatlong minuto ka na, hindi ka pa rin nakakapag-intro, di ba? Di mo pa rin nasasabi yung punto mo. Lalayasan ka ng listener mo. Or, saying a lot of unnecessary things, it will eat more time. And you need to learn how to deliver ideas and express yourself ng malinaw and concise. And to be honest, magagamit nyo rin to when you start inviting guests, pagka nakikipag-collaborate na kayo, or kung ikaw naman yung iimbitahin as guest ng ibang podcast show. Then the next is basic audio editing. Because you're just starting, syempre, ang assumption natin, ikaw lahat.
One man
Naman.
team.
Yes, oo. Unless you have a team na gagawa nun for you, then it's fine. Pero kung, again, we go back to the assumption na ikaw lang lahat, it means you have to edit your own audio. So don't worry, kasi this is a part of your podcast journey and marami kang matututunan pagka in-enjoy mo lang yung process. Ang dami yung madidiscover na parang mafe-feel mo na ang dami ko palang hindi alam. But you're also excited to learn, you know? And then the last one is marketing and social skills because of course you have to promote or create awareness for your show. You have to let the world know na, oy, I have a podcast. Listen to it. Di ba? And this is also how you meet and how you meet your audience, and yun yung makakatulong sa'yo to discover the direction that you want for your podcast show. But, before I continue, there are 3 things that I also want to say that I also say to those who are aspiring to, have their own show. Kasi, very important, in my opinion. Hindi siya nabibili kahit saan because this is more of self-reflection and assessment. That is, first of all, bago mo pabili ng mga microphone, whatever gadget, ganyan.
Right.
Ang laki-laki yon, know your why. You have to know your why. Bakit gusto mong mag-umpisa ng podcast? Kasi ba, kasi bored ka? Or kasi you want to find purpose in your life? Bakit ayaw mo ng ibang form ng content creation like vlogging? Bakit ayaw mo mag-TikTok? Diba? That's microblogging. For me, this is very crucial kasi later on, if, say, this is not what you really want to do, madali siyang iwan. It's easy to ditch the show. Para ka lang ningas kugon. Let me share the data from Chartable. Ito pala, may isa pa bang data. Chartable is a podcast measurement company, and they provide standing ng mga shows. According sa hosting data in 2018, only 16% of podcasts under Anchor have published more than 9 episodes. Ibig sabihin nito, maraming shows na hindi na nasusundan after 9 episodes. Actually, may iilan nga na parang alam ko nung pandemic, parang they started, nakatatlo lang, then that's it. Case in point, again, last year, there was a surge in new podcast shows between March and April 2020. And ito yung kasagsagan ng lockdown. And there was, I'm not kidding, there was a mic shortage in the Philippines. I'm telling you. Kasi people were like, guys, saan kayo nakabili ng mic? Hindi ako makahanap ng mic. Gusto ko ng pumodcast. Mga ganun talaga yung mga tao. Pero alam mo yun, but you must be wondering, bakit ganun? Bakit hindi na nasundan? Mahirap ba yung podcast na yan? Parang ang dali-dali naman pag nakikita ko. Well, my quick answer for that is hindi naman siya mahirap. Pero, this will deliver me to my next point. Sorry, ayun pala siya. 16%. Pero, you have to understand that, podcast is still work. Trabaho pa din siya. Creating content will always require your time and effort. Same with vlogging. I remember I watched your guest before, yung nagturo siya yung sa vlogging, di ba? Ang sabi niya, you have to create something every day and make it simple. Parang hindi na kailangan na masyadong palabok, di ba? Yun yung advice niya before. And I agree. Pero even if you say that, you just create simple content, mahirap eh. Alam mo, the more that it's simple, the harder it is. And yun yung kalaban mo doon. Yung willing ka ba na to put an effort on your creation. To set your time and effort for your creation. Kasi marami yung pumped and very excited when they release their first couple of episodes. Pero, I don't know, for some cases, hindi na nga nasundan. And the truth, yung totoo niyan is, pwede kasing marami kang idahilan eh. For example, may construction noise sa bahay, may pasok na uli ako, wala na akong time, may OT ako, wala akong maisip na bagong topic, nagka-jowa na ako, wala na akong time, alam mo yun? Marami kang maiisip. Kaya when that happens, you have to go back to my first point, you have to know your why. Because if you know your why, yung very reason why you're doing it, hindi ka titigil. 'Di ba? Sabi nga ng famous line, pag gusto may paraan, pag ayaw may dahilan. And podcasting is fun pero matrabaho. Parang kayo, 'di ba? Ano ba ang why ng OFE? Tulungan ang mga OFW
To convert to
Mm-mm.
OFEs. Yan.
That's your why, and that's what is driving you to create parang katulad nito OFE sideline, 'di ba? Side hustle pala, side hustle. So yon, 'di ba? You have to understand bakit ko ba ginagawa 'to. Sabi nga ng nanay mo, nagsasayang ka na naman ba ng oras? Bibili-bili ng mic, di naman ginagamit. Yung mga ganon.
Pero in fairness din naman talaga sa mga Pinoy, talagang kung ano yung uso, talagang itatry din naman talaga natin.
Yes.
Yung curiosity natin, grabe din naman talaga.
Oo. Pero yun nga eh, kasi pagka nagki-create ka, if you wanna do something, di ba, laging may kasama yun na pera, effort, time. So, kung gagastos ka na rin lang, lalo na't bibili ka ng mga mamahaling bagay, just be sure that, you can really use it.
Mhm.
Kasi sayang naman kung mga high-end yung bibilin mo, tapos, di ba, hindi siya
Oo, kailangan
Hindi
at
mo
least
magagamit.
pa-ROI naman sana, guys.
Yeah. Yon. Ito na yung last. Okay? The last one is, at ang huli sa lahat, identify your audience. Who is this for? Para kanino ang show na ito? It has to be for someone. For somebody. Sino ang target listener mo? Like I said earlier, let's use OFE for example. Ang target audience nyo ay mga OFWs na gustong makaipon at makahanap ng posibleng pagkakitaan kapag dumating ang oras na uuwi na sila sa pamilya nila sa Pilipinas. So, you have to take a moment and think of the persona of your listener. Ito yung tinatawag sa branding na you have to know your listener avatar. You have to understand na sa umpisa pa lang, kasi when you understand your audience, kung sino yung target audience mo, so umpisa pa lang, alam mo na yung type ng episode na ipoproduce mo. So hindi ka parang babato ka lang sa, sige, whatever. Feel ko pag-usapan ng love life ngayon. Tapos the next day, biglang finance, biglang the following. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. But, the continuity and parang, just to give direction then to your listener. Diba? So,
So kaya mo din ginawa yung separate podcast. Tama ba?
yes.
Okay.
Oo.
Para mas reach yung audience mo.
Yes, oo. Kasi That Broke Pinay podcast, more on talaga siya finance, personal finance siya. And yun, that's why. And then the Roma Miclat podcast is designed for lifestyle, mental health, about love, about relationship, self-reflection, ganon. Ayun.
May question pala ako, Roma. Usually, ilang episode per month ang podcast?
That would really depend on you. Maraming nagtatanong niya na, bakit may season? Bakit, ilan ba dapat ng episode per season? Ganyan. Depende yan. It's your, creative decision. Pero ako, I follow kasi yung seasons talaga ng month. So, parang 3 months in one season. So, ang ginagawa ko, kasi the first podcast show, the Roma Miclat podcast, 2 yung nire-release ko sa kanyang episode per week. So one on Thursday evening, and then the other one is Sunday, which is the Empowered Talks for international audience din yon. Every Sunday yon. So dalawa ako per week. While for that Broke Pinay podcast, I only release episodes every first Wednesday of the month and the third Wednesday of the month. So that goes for the Waldas Wednesdays. So yon.
Okay. So, depende din talaga sa availability mo.
Yes, kaya nga yung iba, like if they're doing a podcast, for example, first time nila magre-release, it's advisable na mag-ipon ka na, like mag-ano ka na, record ka na ng marami. It's either you finish the entire season or you want,
Okay.
magpondo ka na ng at least siguro 4 to 6 episodes para kahit papano, dire-diretso, may continuity.
Mm.
Yon.
So, yun din pala yung isang benefit compared to like doing live shows,
Yes.
no? Nakakapag-prepare ka na, para kang yung langgam, nag-iimbak ka ng pagkain mo.
Yes, oo. Lalo na kung ano, yung talagang sabihin mo busy-busy ka. Kasi 'di ba minsan hindi naman natin talaga maiiwasan, Shida, na life happens. We have work. It's not your main bread and butter. So, you really have to set aside some things minsan you have to choose. Paano kung kailangan mo talagang mag-deliver sa work or di kaya may something like emergency that happened, di ba?
Mm.
So, yun. Okay. Okay, so just a quick rundown tama ba yan? Before we move on. If you want to start your podcast show, you have to understand your why. Why do you want to podcast? Next, you have to understand as early as now na podcasting is still work. Well, ideas don't always come popping in your head, di ba? Hindi naman siya laging, oy, may idea ko for next time. Nauubusan ka masasaid ka dyan, for sure yan. And you have to find those creative ideas. So you have to do lots of reading, lots of, listening to other type of contents, because those things, that it will greatly help you. And of course, last, like I said, you have to identify your audience para kanino ka puma-podcast. Yon. Yun yung
Para hindi
important.
halo-halo, no? Kasi minsan parang sama-sama na yung idea na gusto mong ganitong content.
Mm.
Nawawala na ng direction yung purpose nung show mo.
Pag excited ka, 'di ba? Pag
Mm.
excited ka, parang ang dami mong gustong gawin. Tapos wala ka na minsan yung energy mo na talaga yung kulang, hindi naman yung idea. So,
Mm.
you still have to manage your time and energy
Mm.
bilang ikaw yung nagke-create ng content mo.
Mm.
So, okay. So, we go next. Do you have any questions kay teacher? Teacher talaga.
Wala namang question. May mga nagko-comment lang dito. Ito, wait. Saan na ba yun? Ito. Nag-save naman po kami ng wow.
Si Tatay Jurik yan.
From JC. Kala ko din radio yung podcast. So, common misconception.
Yes, oo. Pero at least now, 'di ba? It's not radio.
Ito
Almost,
pa,
but
may
not.
nag-hi sa'yo, Roma. Go, Roma.
Hi, J. Paul. Thank you for watching. He's also another podcaster. Yan. Hi, J.
Thank
Paul.
you.
Salamat.
So far, wala pa
Okay.
namang question. So,
Ayan, sige. Itago nyo na yung questions nyo. Char. Okay, so let's go. What do I need? Eto na. Hawak na sa wallet, guys. Hindi, joke lang. Okay, choose your title, choose your fighter. This is the part of your overall branding. Kumbaga sa tindahan, ano ba ipapangalan mo sa tindahan mo, di ba? Aling Nena Sari-Sari Store, ganyan. So you have to decide your show's title, and it should be something that's easy to recall or memorable. At of course, syempre dapat madaling i-pronounce. Kasi pag hindi ka na lang sasabihin. Basta yung podcast na yon, di ba? Yeah,
oo.
supercalifragilisticexpialidocious podcast. It's too long. It's too complicated. Wag ganon. Oo. Doon ka lang sa very, madaling, may dating. Parang ganon.
Madaling matandaan, no, dapat.
Yes, oo, madaling
Gusto ko nga
matandaan.
yung That Broke Pinay na title mo eh. Very catchy.
Thank you. Oo, ano ako, representative ako ng mga gastador. Yeah, yun. Ano, financial show siya, pero ang star ng show ay gastador. So, yun. So, after you choose your title, you then choose your cover art. Kung may title ka na, syempre dapat may cover. So, this is again part of your branding at ito naman yung tatatak, parang ito yung logo mo. So, ito yung
Mm-mm.
tatatak sa audience mo. The color, the font. So, you have to choose the colors and fonts that are easy on the eyes. Wag yung parang nang-aasulto, di ba? Parang nananapak sa mata. Masakit kasi yun, guys. I mean, sometimes you get too excited with the color, but sometimes you have to, but that's what you want, but then you try to ask other people na, okay ba tong color na to? Kasi baka mamaya pinagsama mo naman yung dalawang hot color na very, very hot color. Parang parang hindi masyadong maganda yung ano, yung register niya. Hindi siya, parang kung titignan mo siya kumbaga sa magazine, lalampasan mo.
Mm-mm.
O gano'n. Dapat ang cover art mo something that, oh, worth second look. 'Di ba?
At
And
saka
then,
yung colors,
mm,
Roma, di ba parang meron siyang meaning? Like, pag ganitong color yung
yes.
pinili mo, medyo lively. Pag ganito, for
Oo.
growth, ganyan. So, kailangan nyo din siyang i-research.
Tama. Yun, yung mga meaning, like for example, blue, yung ano yata parang pag orange, it means like vital. Parang ano yun, cheerful, joyful, ganyan. When you use red, it's ano, it's more of parang empowered,
Mm-mm.
palaban. When you use naman the minimalist color which is black and white, usually sophistication, ganyan.
Mm-mm.
Yung kulay ni That Broke Pinay Podcast, kulay BDO yun. I'm sorry, pero na-realize ko nga lately, parang kulay ng BDO to bangko. Yellow, blue. No, actually, the reason why I chose that naman, in my defense, is I want to represent the colors in the Philippine flag. Arabiya Mateya ba ito? I have the red, I have the blue, and I have the yellow to represent the Pinay, the Pinay and me. So, those are really, intentional siya.
Hindi pala video, not these anyways.
Oo, video baka naman. Hindi, joke lang. Ayun, pero hindi rin, okey lang din naman, hindi ako nagjo-joke, video. Okay, now if you prefer words or something na you choose something na madaling mabasa. Or kapag photo naman, use photo na, alam mo yun, very straightforward, na hindi na, wala nang parang paligoy-ligoy again. Because this will serve as your logo, so bear in mind na ito yung mag-represent sa show mo. Eh baka naman pag nakita yung, halimbawa, photo or logo mo, parang mag-iisip, ano ba to? Ano bang nire-represent nito? Tapos, ang dami-dami ko na nga iniisip, iisipin ko pa yung meaning ng ng logo mo, di ba? So, yung ganon, you make it easy, again, easy to recall, easy to understand, and straightforward.
Mhm.
Okay, next. Ito yung pinag-uusapan natin kanina, Shida.
Wow.
Nakapili ka na ng ano mo, title mo, nakapili ka na rin ng cover art mo. Now you have to choose a release schedule. Dapat ba ang schedule mo weekly, bi-weekly, or every week? Like I said earlier, it depends on you, pero think of what you can manage to do at kung saan ka magiging consistent.
Mhm.
Because again, yes, podcast is audio on demand, pero your listeners would want to know when you're releasing your new episodes. It's like creating a habit for your listeners too. For example, like I said earlier, sa Brook Pinay Podcast, every ano lang siya, first week and third week.
Mhm.
And it's every Wednesday and then I use the hashtag Waldas Wednesdays whenever I release the episode. So, yung mga followers nila, they can check na every first Wednesday and third Wednesday of the week. So, yon. So, they have enough time then to, listen to the past episodes.
Totoo 'yun kasi as listener din, parang aabangan mo yung next kasi malalaman mo yung schedule niya, so titingnan mo din talaga yung release date ng mga
Mm.
episodes.
'Di ba lalo na kung talagang natutuwa ka or really you enjoy or halimbawa mayro'n siyang guest na inaabangan mo, you
Mm.
have to know when, 'di ba? You have to know kailan ba magiging available 'tong episode na 'to. Okay. Next, nakapili ka na ng ano mo, ng tawag dito, ng what do you call this one? Schedule. Now, it's time for you to choose your podcast provider. This is where yung podcast provider mo, yun yung kung saan ka mag-upload ng audio mo. And then sila yung magde-distribute ng episodes mo sa other podcast platforms. So you
Mm-mm.
have a number of options, but the most famous at the moment, I see Anchor.fm, and it was recently acquired by Spotify. Spotify. Other brands gaya ng Podbean, Libsyn, and SoundCloud, to name a few, are also great options pero may bayad yan. You pay monthly subscription tapos depende sa kung ano yung plan na pinili mo, you have a limited bandwidth and storage size.
Mm.
Okay? So, yeah.
So, sa
Yeah.
Anchor ba, Roma, like, yung length ng podcast mo is, or ng episode mo is unlimited na din? Or
Yes,
limited na?
unlimited siya.
Okay, that's nice. So, pwede na palang mag-start with free platform, right?
Yes, you can use Anchor kasi yun nga, libre siya. Tapos ngayon, they have a feature pa na parang may tie-up sila with WordPress. So when you create your podcast, they can convert your episodes into blogs. So it's easier for you to, have a website page for your podcast.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay yan. That's nice.
Mm. So, ayan, so for example, ito, i-compare lang natin, Shida, yung,
Mm.
yung free and yung may bayad. Let's use Podbean as an example. You can try Podbean for free, and sa free version nila, you get 100 gig of bandwidth with only 5 hours of storage. And
Mhm.
then, yung monthly fee niya starts at $9 per month kung pipiliin mo build annually or yung isang bagsakan. Pero it's gonna be 14 USD if you choose to pay monthly.
Mhm.
Versus sa Anchor na libre.
Mhm.
So, yun yung isa sa mga main difference. I think this is gonna be a different topic kasi marami pa rin naman ang gusto na they pay for the service provider, the podcast provider, rather than sa libre. Pero it's gonna be a different topic on a different day siguro. Pero just to give you a brief preview or kung anong difference nila, isa sa mga difference nila, ito yon.
Mhm. Okay. So, as a
Yon.
beginner, pwede ka munang mag-Anchor siguro. Try muna.
Yes, oo. Tas talagang kasi baka mamaya bumili ka ng service or nag-ano ka ng service tas hindi mo naman natuloy, 'di ba? Sayang.
Mhm.
Tenga lang siya. So, yon. Okay, now let's go to your RSS feed. Ano ba yung RSS feed na yun? Okay,
Mhm.
kapag nakapili ka na ng iyong podcast provider, all you have to do is just sign up. Just go, this is not sponsored, ah. Parang ano,
Walang
taga
links
Anchor FM.
lalabas.
Yon. Okay, nakapili ka na ng podcast provider mo. All you have to do is just sign up and then follow the instructions on how to set up your account. And then it's very easy, very user-friendly. So don't you worry about it. And then ang importante dyan is to look for your RSS feed. RSS stands for Really Simple Syndication. This is a link that is unique to your podcast. Okay, let me just go to the next. Yan. And kailangan mo ang RSS feed to distribute your podcast to other platforms like Apple Podcast, Google Podcasts, and other platforms. For now, I can only speak for Anchor.fm kasi nga sabi ko sa inyo, ito yung gamit ko. Kasi before, you have to manually distribute your podcast. So you need to go and submit your podcast individually. Punta ka ng Apple, submit ka. Punta ka sa Spotify, yung link doon you submit. And the same goes with Google Podcast. Pero right now, with the recent developments at saka updates ng Anchor, once you created an account, you will receive a message or prompt na tatanungin ka nila, would you like us to distribute your podcast to different apps? Tapos dito ito yung madidistribute yung podcast mo. So, yan. maganda kasi it basically covers every app that you need para sa podcast distribution ng show mo. So you got your Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Breaker, Castbox, Google Podcasts, Overcast, Pocket Cast, and Radio Public. So kung hindi man kasama sa kanila yung gusto mong site, then you can just submit it individually.
Ang dami na din lang integrated na apps 'no? So, one click
Mm.
na lahat.
Yes. Actually, maganda kasi I think Anchor.fm became much stronger nung inacquire sila ni Spotify.
Hmm,
So,
okey.
yon. Tapos, this is just, additional news. Kasi I think, Facebook will be coming up with their own, way of,
Oh.
makakapag-create ka ng podcast within Facebook. Because, Facebook, ayaw nilang lumalabas sa ibang app yung mga tao, yung users nila. So, they will create something that is for podcasters. So within Facebook din. So yun. I think same goes with Google Podcast. So ang daming development and very very exciting siya talaga for podcasters. And soon to be podcasters. So yun.
Na hindi ko pa narinig yung news about Facebook, pero yeah, interesting yun kasi pinasok nga ni Facebook yung marketplace, 'di ba? Tas
Oo.
and meron na din naman silang Facebook Live, yung mga shows kagaya nito, 'di ba?
Mm. Ayun. So I'll go to the last one. Ito na yung ito na yung medyo ito na yung magastos, yan. And of course, kapag magre-record ka ng podcast, you will use a microphone, a recording app or software, and editing software. Okay, here are some microphone suggestion. Okay, for the microphone, I highly, highly suggest that you invest on a decent microphone dahil a crappy audio will never be good. Again, you're giving a listening experience to your audience, and if you got crappy sounds, kahit gaano pa kaganda yung sinasabi mo, kahit gaano pa ka-inspirational niyan, kung tunogyero ka naman at tunog lata na naririnig yung hangin at alam mo yun, a lot of noise na parang hindi talaga okay, malamang layasan ka ng listeners mo, 'di ba? Hindi na nila tatapusin yung episode mo.
Totoo
Hindi,
yan,
'di
totoo
ba?
yan. Kasi minsan tapos lalo ang ikli na ng attention span ng mga tao ngayon. So,
Yes.
siguro a few seconds lang 'pag pangit yung audio mo, next na sila.
Lalayasan ka na nila. Ay, ano ba 'to? Next na nga lang, yung iba na lang, 'di ba? Hindi ka mai-inspire, mabubwisit ka, ganyan. Sa akin naman, you don't need to, buy something very expensive right away. A couple of brands that I have here are, the BM800. You can get this from Shopee or Lazada. Available siya online. Just search for BM800 and it's below $50. In Philippine peso, it's around mga siguro 1,000 or less than 1,000. Basta nothing more than 2,000, I think. Tapos, ngayon, if you have a budget ng konti, yan, you can go for the Samsung Q2U. This is another very popular microphone among podcasters because it's bang for the buck. Ito yung usually na makikita mo sa stage, sa conference, yan yung nandun. And it's below $100. And then at kung wala ka talagang budget na talagang wala eh. Sige, okay lang. Pero gusto mo talagang pumodcast, okay, go. You can always use yung mobile headset na kasama ng, mobile mo. Basta huwag ka lang gagamit ng AirPods kasi I kid you not, hindi siya magandang gamitin. Sobrang pangit. Huwag AirPods. I mean, it's nice for listening but not for, when you're speaking. Hindi siya okay. So,
Okay.
yon.
So, kung medyo may budget ka, pwede ka muna mag-start siguro sa BM800, no?
Yes, oo. Maraming lalo na yung magaganda naman like malalalim yung boses, hindi mo 'di ba? Yun ang gamit nila pero you sound good. So, yun. Again, especially if you're just, trying yung testing the waters ba na tinatawag. Yan, magandang starter yan. So, yun. And then, tapos na tayo sa microphone, pupunta naman tayo ngayon sa recording app or editing software. Well, you can choose from the following. If you're a Mac user or iOS, you can use GarageBand. libre yan. Kasama yan sa, di ba, sa pagka ano ka, bumili ka ng iPhone product, kasama na yung GarageBand na yan. Ito actually yung gamit ko nung nag-uumpisa ako. Ito lang yung pinang-i-edit ko. And ito rin yung gamit ko pang record. And then marami ring gumagamit nitong Audacity. And what's good about this is it's free. Yan yung mga gusto natin, libre. It's for
Oo.
free. Yan.
Lumalaki yung mata natin diyan, eh.
Yes, oo. Tapos, if you want something more advanced, you go for Adobe Audition, but this is more on subscription based. I think yearly yata yung subscription niya. Parang one-time payment for the whole year. And mga around yata siya, 25 USD. I'm not sure, or 25, basta mga ganon yung presyo niya. And of course, if you want to explore Anchor.fm's recording feature, meron din sila. You can record directly sa app and then you can upload it na diretso sa show mo. Pero I'm not sure kung gaano siya ka-okay ha. Kasi I've read na may iba na diretso sila nag-record. Tapos, nagka-problem yata. Parang hindi siya ganun kadaling ma-manage. Kasi nga direkta siya sa app eh. So, I'm not sure kung ano ba to, common ba yun na experience or okay din naman. Siguro kung mga tipong ang podcast mo yung random thoughts at 3 a.m. Yun, pwede siguro one-time shot yun. Diretso na sa sa show mo. But, at least you have a backup plan or backup na pwede mong gamitin. So, if you're on the go, di ba, you can do that. So,
Ang
yun.
dami ng free software, no, Roma? Nung nag-start ka ba, madami na din talagang free? Or wala masyado?
Nung nag-start ako, parang, GarageBand lang talaga ako. Kasi nga, hindi ako nag-explore masyado dun sa Anchor.fm. Kasi feeling ko kasi kailangan ko siya talagang i-edit kasi very very conscious ako sa aking and ganon.
Fillers,
So yon. Pero GarageBand not so bad talaga. Maganda siya. Audacity hindi ko na sinubukan. Pero maraming podcasters ang gumagamit ng Audacity.
Siguro kasi nakasanayan mo nang gamitin yung GarageBand, 'di ba? So hindi ka na nag-try ng iba.
Oo, hindi na.
Ay, may tanong pala dito, Roma.
Oo, sige. Pagpapawisan ba ako dyan?
Hindi na, ayan. Paano po pag pangit yung boses ko, tapos gusto kong mag-podcast?
Alam mo, MK, hi, thank you for that question. Alam mo ba na hindi naman daw, there's no such thing na pangit yung boses. Sabi nila, kasi there are may mga ganyang podcasters na sikat na podcasters naman pero sobrang nasal sila magsalita. I think it's just that you have to say whatever you're trying to say with confidence. At saka basta coherent naman at hindi parang siguro chismosa yung dating or something na, di ba? Kasi may ganun eh. Pero, and ang boses naman is muscle siya eh. So the more that you use it, the more na nahahanap mo yung, parang nababago mo yung tono, nababago mo yung the way you speak, 'di ba? Mas authoritative ka as you move on. So, try mo lang, continue doing it, and then you try and search for videos then on how to, develop yung pagsasalita and maybe how to change your tone, maybe it can help you. Pero, yeah, hindi issue 'yun.
Kasi
Don't
parang
worry.
feeling ko naging din yun, magiging brand mo din siya.
Oo, yes.
Parang personality mo siya. So, okay din. Kasi mostly nakatutok naman sila sa content kung ano talaga yung share mo.
Oo. Totoo 'yun. Yes.
Eto, may
Thank you.
another question pa sa'yo, Roma. Ayan. Hi, just want to ask, Buzzsprout po kasi yung gamit ko for my podcast. Is it possible to transfer or to change to Anchor from Althea?
So paying siya. Gusto niya na ng free.
Mukha,
Ay.
oo.
I think
Possible daw ba yun?
oo, possible naman 'yon, but you have to ask the help of ano, from Anchor na. I think you have to send them an email and then explain it to them. Kasi yung iba, ang ginagawa nila from Anchor to paid service.
Mhm.
And then they will guide you on what to do.
Siguro puwede din naman yun 'pag pabalik 'no?
Mm, mm. You just have to ask, you go to Anchor or send them an email, tapos sabihin mo what you want to do. Very ano naman eh, ang help desk naman ng Anchor is very mabilis silang mag-ano, reply.
Mm.
So, yun.
Ayun, yun pa muna ang ating questions.
Okay, sige. Andito na tayo sa ano, tanong ng bayan. Okay, ayan na. Ngayon, dito na tayo sa question na kanina malamang ay tinatanong nyo at gusto niya nang malaman. Is it possible to earn from podcasting? And my answer to that is, drum roll please.
Yay! Possible!
Yes, it's possible to earn from podcasting. And there are different ways to earn from your show. Okay. Una sa lahat, ang numero uno. Well, okay, I listed a couple of ways on how you can earn from your show, and una dyan yung ad placements. So for Anchor.fm, they offer this to everyone, regardless if your show is new or matagal na yung show mo. Depende sa positioning ng ad, nag-iiba ang presyo. Parang sa YouTube, 'di ba? May ad sa umpisa ng video, mid ng video, and then sa dulo.
Mhm.
Same applies sa podcast. So ito yung tinatawag natin na pre-roll. Ito yung sabi nila pinakamahal daw. And then you got the mid-roll, average yung rate. And then post-roll, ito yung pinakamura or least expensive. But okay, not because you place an ad, ibig sabihin, kikita ka na agad. Kasi you have to follow yung CPM or yung tinatawag na cost per mil or price per 1,000 downloads. So there is a price na binibigay si sponsor per 1,000 downloads. Let me give you an example here. Okay. So for example, si brand A, magpe-place siya ng ad sa show mo. Ang price niya, $10 per 1,000 listens. Eh, naka 5,000 listens ka yung episode mo or yung show mo when you released an episode. It's possible na kumita ka ng $50. Again, nag-iiba yan depende sa partner or brand na nagpe-place ng ads. Because for example, yung kay Anchor, okay, ganda, di ba? $50. But wait, there's more. 30% non-cut ni Anchor sa'yo. So you don't get the entire $50. They will get 30% doon kasi, since sila naman yung naghahanap ng sponsors na magpe-place ng ads sa show mo. And if you're on Anchor and you want to know more about this, their ad placement, ganyan-ganyan, kung paano kakikita, you can just check it sa ads informations page nila. So, yon.
Question, Roma, ano yun? Connected sa like PayPal account ba? Dun papasok yung money mo? Ganun ba siya?
Oh, actually, ganito yan. Yung sa Anchor, it's only available in the US. Pero nagkaroon ng may nakahanap ng workaround yung mga Pinoy on how to
As
do it.
usual.
Oo. Pero when I was doing this, when I was researching about it, I found out na binago na ni Anchor yung way of depositing your earnings, because you have to give your social security number. And if you're not a citizen in the US, you don't have a social security number. So I'm not sure if it's still working na kahit outside the US ka, you can earn. Pero at the moment, this is only available sa US at saka sa ibang countries yata. Depende kung saan ka kung saan ka nakalocate. Kung saan yung
Okay.
location mo, yon. Pero huwag kayong mag-alala guys, kasi di ba nga marami namang ways to earn. earn. So, hindi lang ito. Wag nyo kaming iwan. Wait lang, meron pa.
Wag mo na kayong mag-leave.
Oo, wag mo na kayong mag-leave. Wait lang. Oo. Mga ma'am, sir. Ayan. Okay? Kasi kung hindi kayo makakapag-place ng ads, abay, pwede naman kayong magbenta ng merch. Ayan. You can sell your official merch. You can sell shirts, hoodies, caps, mugs, whatever you can think of. Tapalan mo ng logo ng show mo or whatever. Like maybe the famous line from your show, yung tagline ng show mo. Dito, you will invest a little and then you can ask of course, unang-una nating bebentahan, pamilya at mga kaibigan. You can ask
Persahan.
Yes. You can ask your families and friends and fans to buy from you. Ang maganda naman dito, whatever you earn, sa'yo yon. Kasi 'di ba, diretso na sa'yo yun eh. You can sell it sa website mo, sa Facebook page mo, and hashtag flex merch, ganyan, ganon.
At saka dito, walang limit. Like, parang hindi ka limited on how to earn your money pa, di ba?
Mm. Oy,
Depende
ano
na
kung
lang sa sipag mo.
Yes. Oy, ano kung 2 linggo pa lang yung show mo, may pa-t-shirt ka na. Puwede naman 'yun, wala namang bawal, hindi naman pinipigilan, 'di ba? Okay, so ayaw mo sabihin natin, sige, I'm gonna sell my merch or ayaw mo magbenta ng merch. Then you can do affiliate codes or links. Ito very famous 'to
Mm-mm.
sa mga podcasters sa community, sa Philippine community. For the affiliate links naman, you usually have a code na ibibigay. At kapag ginamit nila yung code na yon, when they buy from any of the brands na affiliated, for example, Shopee or Lazada or Zalora, you can earn a portion from that sale. So, yun, mga makikita niyan pagka mga 11-11, 5-5, ganyan, diba? 7-7.
Mamaya magsisend daw si Roma
Alin yun?
ng code.
Oo, guys. Hindi, charot lang yun, charot. Pero pwede naman, later. Okay, and then, of course, other ways that you can earn from your podcast, it can be through sponsorships or donations. Are you familiar with the Buy Me Coffee? Para siyang PayPal, pero parang ang concept niya lang, bibilan mo siya, si podcaster, ng kape. So, may it may be worth $4, $5, parang gano'n. Ikaw yung magbibigay ng amount.
Lately ko lang siya narinig, yung Buy Me Coffee. Gusto ko yung idea kasi parang hindi, I mean, money pa din naman yung binibigay mo, pero hindi directly as money. Parang, okay, bilang kita,
Oo.
dahil maganda content mo, bilang kita ng $5 worth of coffee, parang ganun.
Oo, 'di ba? It's parang nililibre mo siya kasi natuwa ka sa ginawa niyang episode. And yun, of course, PayPal donations. And then you can have subscription or paid content. So you can come up with a book or ebook. I don't know, programs, training programs, and isa sa famous na paid content is Patreon. Usually for paid content, like I said sa Patreon, you have something special to offer sa audience mo na worth money, parang worth spending money. Kasi parang ito yung binayaran nila to get that information lang. So hindi siya available sa public. So ganun.
So parang ano siya, exclusive content to subscribers.
Yes, yung mga ganon, oo.
Okay.
Syempre ako wala pa naman ako maipa-Patreon. So, feeling ko parang wala pa akong maipe-Patreon eh. So, pero I'm eyeing on that too. So, yun. Pero yun, yun nga, familiar ka ba dun sa, parang OnlyFans ba? Parang ganun din siya. So, paid content siya. So, yun. And then lastly, you can have other opportunities, for example, selling your services or hosting gigs or paid live events. So, yan. Pwede yan. Other opportunities yan. Hindi siya directly na parang, when you play the podcast, makukuha ko to. These are the things that you have to be creative in finding ways to earn from your podcast. Kasi marami kang makikilala sa podcast journey mo. Marami kang taong makakahalubilo and every relationship na mabubuo mo, it's possible that you can have a good partnership or business partnership in the future, 'di ba?
So, ang dami talagang ways to earn. Depende na lang sa creativity mo. Pwede ka rin
Yes.
mag-host, di ba?
Oo, 'di ba may pa-bingo si kapitana, eh, online na ngayon. O puwede mo na ring,
Mm.
"O ako na lang yung ano niyo, host niyo," 'di ba? Yung mga gano'n. I mean, yeah, that's really, I mean, it's funny na medyo funny yung concept pero totoo puwede yun,
Mm.
yung hosting and all, 'yan.
Mm.
Okay, so again, if you're asking, is there any earning possibilities on a podcast? The answer is yes, but you have to build an audience first. Madalas kasi nakikita ko sa mga forums, ganyan, na there are podcasters who are very concerned agad kung paano kikita ng pera. And alam mo, hindi naman masama yon. Pero, just like vlogging sa YouTube, di ba? Dapat unahin mong intindihin yung pagkikreate ng content na worth sharing.
Mm.
Kasi you have to grow your audience, you have to improve your content, and then unti-unti, try the examples that I mentioned earlier. Pili ka lang doon. And
Mm.
malay mo, di ba? Something will stick and you'll earn from it.
Oo,
And,
kasi
mhm.
money will follow eventually pag maganda na talaga yung content mo and may audience ka na.
Mm. Totoo. At saka paano ka magbebenta kung wala ka namang audience, di ba?
Mm.
Wala kang ano, market, wala kang mapapag-marketan nung binibenta mo.
Mm.
And of course, you earn from your podcast when you build relationships with your guest and audience. Kaya 'di ba kanina ang sinabi ko, you have to know your audience para kanino yung show mo kasi pwede ka naman talagang gumawa ng podcast na for your own consumption. Pwede 'yon, like audio diary siguro, 'di ba?
Mm.
Sure, okay 'yan. But if you're looking at earning from the show, you have to build relationships. Yon.
Meron ba tayong question diyan, guys? And mga medyo na ano sila sa money part.
Ayan na, money. Okay, sige, i-ano ko lang 'tong last ano, slide na 'to.
Ah,
Okay, bago natin i-close 'to, familiar ba kayo sa concept ng 1,000 True Fans by Kevin Kelly? Ang sabi niya, ito na lang yung masasabi ko siguro, find your true fans. Kasi ang sabi niya dun sa 1,000 True Fans, to be a successful creator, you don't have to have millions of followers. Ang kailangan mo is to find your true fans. Ibig sabihin, ito yung mga taong willing gumastos at bilhin anything that you will produce. May it be a merch, may it be an online class, a book, they will buy it. Because when you find your true fans who are willing to spend sa kung ano man ang i-advertise mo, ibenta mo, i-recommend mo, then you can earn from the craft that you're producing.
mm.
So, yon. The goal is not to have so much, parang sobrang dami ng followers.
Oo.
The goal is to find those people na willing at naniniwala sa'yo at magsispend sila whenever you put out something there. So, yon.
Tsaka yun yung magiging constant sa show mo 'di ba?
Mm.
Hindi yung isang isang panood lang, wala na. Sila yung magiging followers mo all throughout your show.
At saka, Sheila, alam mo, possible yun na, for example, I was having this conversation with a social media manager sa ano to, hindi ko na maalala kung saan ba, basta nag-usap kami. And now they were choosing between two influencers. Yung isang influencer, ang dami niyang followers, pero pag nagbenta siya, hindi siya nakaka-hit ng target. Versus dun sa isa na mas konti sa kanya ng parang 18,000 yung isa, tas si influencer B is around 13,000. Pero pag
Mm.
si influencer B ang nagbenta, ang daming bumibili. Because
Hmm.
her fans are true fans.
Mm.
They're willing to really spend, like may sinabi siya, oy, okay tong makeup na to. They buy it. Ganon. Versus
So,
dun sa isa, mataas lang yung followers niya, but they're not buying. Diba?
wala din talaga sa numbers So,
Yes.
you can't
Oo.
always rely sa numbers. Kasi ako, personally, yung gusto ko sa podcast is, halimbawa sa Spotify,
Mhm.
walang rating, unlike, or walang reviews kang makikita agad.
Mhm.
So ikaw, parang hindi ka pressured na, ay papakinggan ko 'to kasi madami ding nakikinig. So, siguro ito yung
Hmm.
maganda. So, ako kung sino talaga yung gusto ko, siya yung babalikan ko. Parang personal option ko siya. Parang
Ayaw
gano'n
mo
yung offer
ayaw mo
ko.
dini-dictate ka na, "Uy, shut down
Oo.
ka na, maganda 'to."
Oo, kasi parang yun yung na-realize ko with other, like yung Facebook Lives or sa YouTube.
Mhm.
Kung madami yung watchers, parang mapo-force ka like, "Ay siguro kailangan ko din 'tong panoorin, siguro ganito." Pero wala ka naman talagang connection, alam mo yun?
Oo.
Compare
Yung
sa
parang naging
podcast.
viral lang, 'di ba? Naging viral lang,
Mm,
na-curious ka lang,
oo.
gano'n.
Pero is it harder ba, Roma, to gain true fans sa podcast compare sa ibang platform?
I would say yes. Oo, mahirap.
Feeling
Kasi
ko
alam
din,
mo, kasi 'di ba ang vlogging is ano, alam mo yung para siyang TV. You don't have to
Mm,
do anything. You just watch your feed with your may image, yung mata mo, yung
oo,
senses mo, yung pandinig mo, 'di ba?
lahat.
Versus no, versus a podcast, it has to be intentional. Like
Hmm,
your listener will intently listen to what you're saying. They
mhm,
understand it. Parang iniintindi nila. And now that especially you mentioned ang liit na ng attention span ng tao. Parang
mm,
I think it's hard or it's challenging for people to actually finish an hour of episode. Kaya nga 'di ba sabi nila minsan you have to shorten your episode. Kasi para mas maraming makinig kasi ay ano yan, maikli lang yan. Madaling
mm,
pakinggan, madaling i-consume. Habang nagda-drive ako, pagdating ko dun sa shopping mall, okay na ako. Tapos na rin yung audio. Yung iba ganun ang hanap.
mhm,
Pero ayun nga, kasi ang kalaban mo ngayon, yung attention span ng tao. Plus there are so many information available out there. Kalaban mo YouTube, kalaban mo Facebook, kalaban mo Instagram, di ba? And so yon, that's why I keep on saying podcast is like giving an experience to your audience, to your listener. You have to be parang sa akin ang pinaka I would say advice is something na nakaka-relate yung audience mo,
mhm. Yung
gano'n.
value 'no, yung ano yung mabibigay mo na value.
Yes, oo, gano'n, yun siya. And okay, so nandito na tayo sa question and answer. I'm
Yes.
dreading this pero I
Ako may
hope
question. From Richardson, question, what other approach kung gusto mong i-guest ang someone? Do you need to prepare a budget? And if may willing naman, how you give appreciation? Ah, nice question yun ah.
ambagan sessions. Hi, Richardson. Thank you for that question. Binibining Pilipinas, thank you for that wonderful question. Ganyan. um, okay. Kung may gusto kang i-guess, actually, alam mo yan, tinatanong din namin yan with my fellow podcasters kasi dapat babayaran sila.
Mhm,
The answer is hindi naman talaga.
mhm,
I'm not sure kung yun ang ano, pero usually hindi siya practice.
mm,
Pero kung if you want, for example, willing ka naman, gusto mo silang bayaran, may budget ka, why not? Pero ako kasi what I do, um, when I have a guest, I prepare a token after namin matapos yung episode. So I send something to them. Pa-thank you. Or if they have a product, for example, si Gising Gising, when I invited them, I offered na magpa-giveaway ako ng products nila. Kasi parang kahit ayaw nila, ini-insist ko kasi I just wanna say my thanks. And
mhm,
I shoulder that. So, yun. Do you need to prepare a budget? I would say yes if you really wanna, spend a little. Pero
mhm,
maybe not so much naman kasi something like a token is okay, is good.
mm. I agree kasi hindi naman siya required
Mm-mm.
yung payment.
Mm-mm.
Appreciation lang for the time, 'di ba, for the
Yes.
knowledge that's been shared. So,
Mhm.
but not required.
Mm.
Ayan,
Pero kung
on
gusto
na,
mo,
Roma.
'di ba, why not?
Puwede din naman. Eto, from Althea. Siya yung nagtanong a while ago din. Pahabol po na question, ano pong mas advisable, yung maraming sound effect or yung konti lang?
Ah, you mean yung mga tawa, ganyan, yung
Oo,
mga
yung mga pinipindot,
parang
'di ba?
gano'n, oo. Kasi parang sa parang sa vlogging, 'di ba? Siguro keep it at minimum. Tapos
Mhm,
ano, ipapasok ko na rin diyan yung background music. Sometimes kasi the background music is overpowering the conversation. So you keep it at minimum. Siguro mga 15% gano'n. Pag nilagay mo siya. Kasi dapat, background music nga lang siya eh. And choose a
mm.
background music na soft. Not too, wag masyadong ma-bass. Kasi pag masyadong ma-bass, ano siya eh, it goes against yung conversation nga. So parang, ano ba to? Ang ingay-ingay naman, ang gulo-gulo. Lalayasan ka na naman ng listener mo. So you have to, if you're choosing for a background music, something that's minimal and siguro sweet, depende sa kung ano yung mood ng pinag-uusapan. It can be lively pero wag masyadong ma-bass. Yun lang yung masasabi ko. Sa sound effects, keep it at minimum. Kasi pag parang puro sunod-sunod na sound effects, di ba? Parang baka naman maano rin, nakaka-overwhelm din dun sa listener mo.
Oo.
Keep it at minimum lang.
Oo,
Mm-mm.
I agree kasi as long as hindi niya na-o-overpower yung nagsasalita, okey lang naman.
Mm-mm.
Pero siyempre mas focus pa din talaga yung nagsasalita kaysa dun sa sound effects or sa music.
Yes.
Ayan, eto, may si Janjan. Paanong gagawin kung medyo hindi maganda quality ng audio ni guest?
Ito, nakuha ko 'to sa ano, sa guest na sa guest sa isang podcaster, si Jeric yung nagre-reply kanina. Um, we request the guest to parang have a proper parang tamang gear. Ganyan. For example, mic. Kung may microphone naman siya, then why not use it? Kung hindi, turuan nyo siya na kung paano gamitin properly yung headset niya. Kasi usually headset, di ba?
Mm.
Alam niyo yung sa TikTok na you have to clip, yung sa clip, i-clip nyo lang dito. Para na siyang yung microphone na ginagamit pang interview. Maganda na siyang lalabas. So, kung hindi maalam yung guest nyo on how to manage their audio, you have to help them. Kasi, isipin mo, sa ikagaganda rin yun ng show mo. That's why I always recommend you do a tech check, you do parang preliminary parang meeting ganyan so that you
Mm,
can check ano ba may ano makikita mo kasi syempre call 'di ba? For example, online kayo mag-interview. Makikita mo agad yung gamit na gagamitin niya sa mismong interview. Usually whatever you use yun naman na yun eh, 'di ba?
mm,
So pag nakita mo na ay parang medyo hindi maganda yung tunog, mag-suggest ka. And I
mm.
think as long as you say it ng maayos, hindi naman magagalit si guest mo.
Oo,
Kasi 'di ba para sa kanya rin 'yun, para sa ikagaganda
mm.
ng guesting niya 'yun. So, 'di ba?
Ayun,
Mhm.
very helpful yung tech check, actually.
Mm.
Ginagawa din namin yun. Kasi siyempre hindi mo din alam ako personally minsan biglang nag-software update pala yung laptop ko, biglang may kailangan kung ano nangyari. So helpful siya. So dapat
Mm.
gano'n din guys.
Yeah, minsan for some reason kung kailan kayo nag-lab tsaka nagkakagulo yung internet mo,
Oo,
'di ba? So, you have to ano din, aalalayan mo si guest. So,
hmm.
'yun.
Eto, may question ulit si Janjan. How long dapat ang duration for each episode para sa mga katulad naming Gen Z? Wow, Gen Z.
Ang sabi nila, ang soft spot daw is 27 minutes. Pero I think it really depends lalo na kung maganda talaga yung episode mo. Eh, bakit mo puputulin, 'di ba?
Mm,
Siguro you try to minimize it. Kumbaga maging ano ka, sobrang ano yun, maging matigas ka when you edit.
mhm,
But if it's really a good episode, no, hindi mo na siya maibababa ng 30 minutes, it's okay, it's fine. I think 45 minutes is also good. iilan lang yung pwedeng may karapatan in a way. Like sila Joe Rogan, their podcasts are like 2 hours,
Two
3 hours.
hours,
I'm like,
grabe.
dude, but they're still number one and people are listening. It's because they have it, the name already eh. May followers na sila talaga. So pag nandun na kayo sa level ng mga milyon na yung followers nyo, then you can do your 2 hours or 3 hours of podcast.
Kasi
Ay, ayun
dito,
pala.
sige,
Yes,
go
yes.
on.
Sorry, balikan ko, naalala ko kanina dun sa tanong ni Janjan, yung paano pagpangit yung audio. You ask your guest also to do a local recording kasi makakatulong yun. So
Mm.
that whatever happens, kung ano man ang nangyari, nagre-record siya ng audio niya, then they can share it to you later on. Tapos pagsamahin mo na lang siya. So, yun.
Okay, parang backup copy. Okay, yun na.
Oo, yun. Mm-mm.
Ayun. Eto, ano pa ba? Meron pa ba kayong question? Pwede pang humabol, guys. Ayan, eto, mga nagti-thank you. Ayan. Thank you daw,
Ayan.
Roma.
You're welcome. Sana nakatulong.
Ayan, wala na tayong questions, Roma. Pwede ka na mag-promote ng page mo.
Ayan. Pa-flash na lang. Ayan. Okay. Ayan. Sa mga bibili po ng tosino, longganisa, charot. Hindi. Thank you, Shada and OFE for giving me this opportunity. Sana marami kayong napulot from this session. And if you want to know more about podcasting, I created a mini series on the Roma Miclat podcast, and it's called Crash Course to Podcasting. At makikita nyo doon or the episodes. In this course, I shared tips for public speaking, how to book a guest, interviewing tips, and podcast etiquette. So basically, ito yung mga bagay na, kasi when you search sa internet, sa, 'di ba, sa Google,
Hmm.
you can see a lot of a lot of tips. Pero ito yung mga bagay na minsan hindi na iisip or hindi na nako-consider. So that's why I created the crash course. So yun yung mga quick lang to episodes.
Mhm.
And of course, ito na. Please don't forget to subscribe to my podcast shows, the Roma Miclat podcast, where you can find the conversations that you needed to hear. And of course, ang patok na patok sa puso ng mga gastador, That Broke Pinay Podcast, ang financial podcast ng babaeng gastadora. So both shows are on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all major podcast platforms. And you can also find our official accounts on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter. At kung nalilito ka sa lahat ng sinabi ko, pumunta ka na lang sa website ko, www.romamiclat.com, and you can navigate from there. So, ayun, maraming salamat. And may naiwan pa ba ako? May nalimutan pa ba ako? Wala naman na.
Ayan, may mga nagti-thank you. Thank you daw from Janjan.
Salamat.
Thank you, Roma, for your time and sa sharing mo ng knowledge mo sa amin. For sure, marami na mag-start mag-podcast dito sa group.
Pag may tanong kayo, you just send me a message. Sumasagot naman ako. Oo. Basta
Yeah.
wag lang kayong mangungutang, ganyan. Tsaka wag lang math.
Yeah. Thank you, Roma.
Thank you.
Happy Sunday. Bye-bye.
Happy Sunday. Ingat kayo.
Thank you,
Stay safe, guys.
everyone.